So with that said, let me introduce my very first guest this hour. His name is Kagondu Jr. and he's a transformation coach. Karibu sana to the show.
Asante
It's
sana.
been a while.
Oh yeah. Say how many months?
I don't
A couple
even know,
months,
a
yeah.
couple months, but it's good to have you here.
Yeah, it's always my pleasure.
And we want to talk about raising our standards. And to you, audience members, I want to ask, do you ever wonder what separates the highest achievers from everybody else? What is it that makes those stellar guys or stellar ladies really stand out? Do you have any goals that you desperately want to achieve? And what are your standards? Do you need to check them? Do you need to raise them? Do you need to just totally reevaluate everything that you're about? That's what we want to talk about today. And so, Kagondu, you know, when we talk about raising standards, a lot of the times saa zingine pia tunasema ati oh, your standards are too high.
Yeah.
Everything from relationships to career to, you know, life. And you know, there's a measure of truth to that because it's still important to be humble in this life.
True.
And to be willing to start from the bottom.
Yes.
But is there anything like your standards are too high?
Yes, it happens, yeah, and especially where our expectations are too high and we want to match them with a certain character, say in the society or somebody that you admire, and probably you are not really comfortable or you haven't put into perspective what you're in a position to achieve. I like what you started with, where we say you just have to do what you gotta do, but at times you also have to be careful with what you're planning to do, because mostly they may be a bit high, and whenever we are unable to achieve that, then this may be the source of the demoralization, and you like, well, I can't achieve this, and you tend to keep off.
So if then we're saying that sometimes our expectations can be too high, how do we reconcile that with also then wanting to raise our standards?
Yeah, it's good when they're high. We say it can either be two sides, yeah? But then with what you're working on, it's always good that you work from a realistic point of view. And normally, it's very important for you to get to know where you are at the moment and where you want to be. And this is whereby we say it's good that you have some sense of clarity of where you are at this particular time. And most of the time, yes, you want to really perform well. And I know in most cases, everybody wants to do well in life. They want to perform well when it comes to the workplace. They also want to do very well when it comes to the athletic life, say our athletes that we have. But normally, the standards may be bit too high. And normally when somebody like say Kipchoge was going to compete in the Ineos, Vienna for the Ineos, the 159 challenge, that's not where he started. He started from the locals. I think last weekend we had a local marathon whereby people are really trying to gauge where they are. And this is where we're supposed to cause, or with that, then you're able to know your ability and how far you can push it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then when we're being the authors of our own lives, and with what you're saying, like understanding your own ability, because many times we sort of look at other people and we see what they're doing.
Yes.
And we're almost trying to match our life to their standards. But it really should be you're competing against yourself, as you're saying.
It's very important. And in most cases, we do model the people around us. And we say we are out of, the person that we are today is as a result of the experiences that we have gone through. And the many things that we have picked from the people around us, say from the family. You know, our family has to set a certain standard. We live this way. This is what we do. And most of the time, we get to miss the point. The places where we live in, this is the estates where we school at, the people that we associate with. Normally, they do really contribute a lot to how far we get to set our goals, how we get to set our plans, how far we get to set our standards. And normally we do miss the point because we get to forget that this race is our own. And most of the time, when you get to compete with the other people, then you miss the point. Normally, I say it's very important for you to get to compete with the person that you were yesterday. And this is whereby you get to improve on a daily basis. This is a progressive move whereby at least you're working towards bettering yourself. Yes.
But even as we're sort of not trying to look to the other person, there are things that we should be learning from the models around us
Yes.
and mentors around us. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's very important, and we always say that for you to get to where you want to be, it's good that you get to pick a mentor. This is somebody who help you to negotiate life, move about, and get to, you know, negotiate those stages and take a shorter time than they did. And normally, yes, mentors are good, but most of the people out there, they are not genuine. Okay, so you find that yes, they're willing to work with you, but they're also pulling you back. So it's always good that you get the genuine mentors, people who are really genuine with you know, guiding you, getting to work with you, because they're able to show you the what you need to avoid in terms of making mistakes. How should you negotiate a certain path, and through this it becomes better for you. But in most cases whereby you get to pick the wrong mentor, then kaput, you're done.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely. So how does one then go raising their standards, right? Maybe they struggle with their own confidence.
Yes.
Or you've not been successful or as successful as you'd want to be in whatever you're currently doing. But then we're here saying, you know, raise your standards. How does one do that when they already feel like they've not gotten to where they want to be?
You know, when we talk about the standards, the personal standards that we set, it has a lot to do with how far your self-esteem is. And normally when your standards are high, then you have some sense of, you know, self-worth. But whenever they are low, then you're like, well, I want to achieve a certain thing, but I don't feel like I have the capability to do that. So this is whereby I was saying earlier, you really need to look at what do you have at the moment, and through this it has a sense of self-awareness, getting to pick what are some of the potentials that I have, what am I able to do with what I have. Remember, we're talking from the Bible, when the children of Israel were going to the promised land, and they got to the Red Sea. You know, Moses asked God, how are we going to negotiate this? And he asked, what do you have on your hands? Most of the time, we really don't know what we possess. And this is one of the first steps to be able to set the right standards. Once you're able to do this, then this will help you to channel your vision, your goals, and where you want to be. And through this, then that's why you get to rechange or reprogram your mindset. Because normally, at times, yes, you want to achieve something, but your mindset is so wrong. And normally, if you don't reprogram yourself, then that means it will be hard for you to achieve whatever goal you're working on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very interesting because even Tony Robbins, who's a very, you know, famous motivational speaker, talks a lot about this and saying, you know, people have an endless list of things that they believe they should do or should follow through, and sometimes those things, they can often carry the same weight like as a New Year resolution.
Yes, they do.
Right? But he says, when you raise your standards and turn should into must, then you're making an inner shift to take control over the quality of your life. That any area you are not getting what you want is because you haven't raised your standards.
It's true. And you know, with setting the right standards, it's been in charge of your life. And whenever he talks about, you know, changing your shoulds into must, this is whereby you're not really comfortable or confident with whatever direction that you want to take. Because in most of the time, yes, I want to have a very good body shape. And I say I should have a good body shape, but it's just a matter of must for you to really get to the gym and work on it. If you really want to change your bank account or the balance in your bank account, then it's not just a matter of I should do A, B, C, D. This means that you really need to be assertive, get to, you know, be in a way that you're able to like really drive your agenda in a way that you're really going to change whatever you're working towards. Yes.
So then it does mean that we need to be very careful about how we define ourselves. And the problem is a lot of us are caught up in our past and the labels and where our family came from and how our family struggled. And so you'll hear people, like, even when they're being confronted about something, they'll just say, if you're tundio tunaifanyanga, right? Like they already have such a defeatist attitude.
Yes, and you know, most of the people out there, and I have also been there, whereby you have the victim mentality by saying, this is where I'm coming from, this is my family, and this is what we are known for. Like, I remember back in primary school, I wasn't very good with books, okay? And for a long time, I believed that I couldn't make out anything out of my life. And, you know, when you get to like you fail your exams, you like, oh yeah, unajua mimi sielewi hii masomo, unajua. So most of the time we have that victim mentality, and normally, like you're saying, it's shaped by the people surrounding us, and that's why you really have to change the narrative for you to like get to where you want to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And the problem with that mentality, or this constantly seeking sympathy from a lot of people, is that you're actually lowering your own ceiling.
Yes, yes. And you know, you want people to you want them to really sympathize with you. And most cases, yes, I remember you know, tracking the teachers, you know, the reason why I fail mathematics because I can't understand or comprehend the sentences. And they'll be like, well, you know, next time you do better. And for a long time you get to, you know, sit on that comfortable zone and the comfort zone whereby you are unable to really bring out the best in you, the potential in you. Most of the time we get to slay the giant in us. We don't want to expose them, and whenever you expose them, that's how you're able to get to higher heights.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so personal standards are mostly then a set of behaviors that we choose to consistently indulge in. It is that choice to say, you know what, I'm going to be different. My life is going to follow a different trajectory from that of my family, because we don't have to be tied to our past.
Sure. And, you know, it's just a matter of changing the mindset, the way you look at things, you know. And whenever you really allow yourself to be limited by where you're coming from, then that means it will be very hard for you to get to where you want to be. And in most cases, when you talk about the family, our history, where we're coming from, yes, it's good that you get to appreciate that you're all made out of the history in terms of where we're coming from, the way our family has been. But I feel this should be a source of motivation for you, because if your family, yes, they were the laughing stock in the society, if you are the laughing stock in your neighborhood among your friends, then this should be your fuel towards getting better. And if you're able to appreciate the fact that this is where I'm coming from, then it will be easier for you to get there. Where it is easier said than done, where it takes a lot of courage, a lot of self-belief, and more so getting to accept the situation that you're in at the moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kagondu Jr., thank you so much for coming through. Always a pleasure talking to you.
All right.
And thank you for challenging us today on how to raise our standards. And so whatever it is you guys are working on today, I hope you guys have been able to pick up some nuggets here from Kagondu as we've had this discussion, okay? Raise your standards. Don't tie yourself to your past or to the labels that people have put on you. You know, in many ways, it's just between you and God, right? Do your part and let him do his part.
Do the rest, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to take a short break right now as we get ready for our next guest. Stay tuned. This is Full Circle with Joyce.